When everything begins to unravel, when life seems to collapse from every direction, when the weight of the world bears down on your chest and you can barely breathe, that's when your true strength is revealed. It's easy to be calm when everything is going right. It's easy to smile when life is good. But the real test, the real measurement of who you are, is how you show up when everything seems to fall apart. That moment is your proving ground. That moment is where calm becomes your greatest weapon. We all go through seasons where nothing makes sense, where it feels like life is against us, where the storms are relentless and the darkness won't lift. You may be facing betrayal, failure, financial devastation, heartbreak, loss, illness, or all of it at once. You might be waking up every morning wondering how you're going to get through the day. But in the middle of that chaos, there is something sacred. There is a space within you that nothing can touch, that no storm can shatter. That is where calm is born, not from the absence of trouble, but from the unwavering presence of inner strength. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is not detachment. Calmness is power under control. It is the deep understanding that no matter what is happening on the outside, you are not obligated to lose yourself on the inside. It's a decision to be steady, a choice to breathe when it's hard, a commitment to clarity when the world is screaming confusion. And the more life throws at you, the more you learn that chaos will always exist. But it does not have to live inside of you. When everything starts falling apart, your first instinct might be to panic, to react, to fight, to scream, to shut down. But the greatest power you will ever possess is the ability to pause, the power to slow everything down in your mind and respond with intention, the power to ground yourself, to breathe deeply, to whisper to yourself, "I will get through this," even when you don't believe it yet. That pause is where you reclaim your control. That pause is your anchor. Life doesn't owe you ease. Life doesn't promise smooth roads, but it does offer you the chance to rise. It gives you the opportunity to transform adversity into wisdom, pain into purpose, and breakdowns into breakthroughs. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That truth alone should empower you. Because when everything is out of your control, your calmness is the one thing that belongs solely to you. No one can take that from you unless you hand it over. When the walls are caving in, remind yourself, this moment is not the end. It might feel like the end. It might feel like your world is crumbling. But endings often disguise beginnings. Destruction often precedes transformation. Just like the forest needs fire to renew its life, sometimes your life has to burn down the illusions, the lies, the false identities, so the truth can rise. And in that rebirth, your calmness is the foundation. Let every trial remind you of what you've already survived. You've made it through things you once thought would break you. You've faced pain before and walked through it. You've had your heart shattered, your dreams crushed, your hopes dimmed. And yet, you're still here. That says everything about your resilience. So when the next storm comes, don't forget your history of strength. Don't forget your capacity to endure. Let that be your source of calm. People will wonder how you stay so calm when life is chaotic. They'll assume you're unaffected, but what they don't see is the war you've fought within. The battles you've faced in silence, the nights you cried and got up anyway. Calmness isn't denial. It's not pretending everything is fine. It's acknowledging the pain, facing the fear, feeling the anxiety, and choosing to keep your spirit steady anyway. That is true courage. You have to train yourself to look for the eye of the storm, the still point in the middle of the hurricane. That's where your clarity lives. That's where your next right step becomes visible. Most people make the worst decisions when they're panicking. Fear clouds judgment. Desperation breeds regret. But if you can calm yourself, if you can slow your breathing, you'll hear the whisper of wisdom within. It's always there, waiting for you to be still enough to hear it. Calmness comes from preparation, from knowing that life can be cruel and still deciding to show up with discipline. It's built through habits that keep you grounded: journaling, breathing exercises, meditation, physical movement, surrounding yourself with solid people. Calmness is not something you find in the middle of the chaos. It's something you develop every day so that when chaos comes, you are ready. Sometimes staying calm is simply about refusing to give your energy to what doesn't deserve it. The situation may be messy, people may be unfair, the future may be uncertain, but not everything deserves your reaction. You have to conserve your energy for what really matters. Your peace, your healing, your progress. The fire may be raging around you, but you don't have to walk into the flames unless there's a purpose for doing so. And purpose, that's another key. When life is falling apart, your calmness can come from knowing that there is meaning in the mess. You may not see it now, but every challenge carries a lesson. Every fall plants the seeds of a rise. Every loss redirects you to something deeper, richer, more aligned. The pain you feel today might be the price for the strength you'll need tomorrow. You are not being destroyed, you are being refined. Even when it feels like no one understands, even when you're alone in your struggle, you have to remember that your calmness is your connection to yourself. It is your way of holding your ground, of refusing to let the world turn you into someone you're not. That calmness is your rebellion against chaos. It is your act of resistance against fear. It is your declaration that you will not be broken. This doesn't mean you won't cry. It doesn't mean you won't feel anger or confusion or heartbreak. It just means you won't let those emotions steer the wheel. You'll feel them, honor them, but you'll drive your life with strength. You'll navigate through the pain with purpose, and you'll carry the torch of your calmness like a light through the darkest tunnel. The truth is, you are far more powerful than you think, but you won't discover that power in comfort. You'll find it when you're on the edge, when you're stretched, when you're tested. Calmness isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about becoming so strong within that no matter how hard life gets, you remain unshaken, you remain focused, you remain present. This world will continue to spin. Problems will continue to arise. People will continue to fail you, but you do not have to be a casualty of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of life. You are the author of your story, and the greatest plot twist is this: when everything falls apart, you rise. When others break, you bend. When others panic, you breathe. When others give up, you go deeper. It starts with one breath, one pause, one decision to calm the storm inside, even if the storm outside rages on. Every time you do that, you build a new version of yourself, stronger, wiser, more grounded. That's how legacies are built. That's how lives are changed. That's how leaders are made. Not by avoiding difficulty, but by walking through fire with grace. You may not be able to fix everything today. You may not know how this ends, but you know who you are, and that knowing is enough. That knowing is where your peace lives. The more you return to that space, the more unshakable you become. The more you trust that inner calm, the more power you gain. Not loud power, not the kind that screams or demands attention, but the quiet, steady, undeniable power that transforms lives. So the next time life begins to fall apart, remember this: you are not falling apart. You are falling into place. You are discovering who you are without the illusions. You are learning to stand tall without needing external validation. You are learning that calmness is not the absence of struggle. It's the presence of strength. And every day you stay calm in the chaos, you're mastering the art of living powerfully. And when you've walked long enough through fire and refused to let it consume you, something begins to shift. You begin to trust yourself in a deeper way. You realize that your calmness is not situational, it's foundational. It's not conditional on what's happening around you, but anchored in what you've built inside. It's a sanctuary that you carry with you. And that sanctuary becomes a place you return to again and again, not to escape reality, but to face it with more power, more presence, and more clarity than ever before. People will look at you and wonder how you're still standing. They'll ask how you're not panicking, not breaking down, not giving in to the pressure, and your answer won't be a performance, it'll be truth. Because calmness is not about being emotionless, it's about emotional mastery. It's about understanding that you are allowed to feel everything, but you are not obligated to act on every feeling. You've trained yourself to sit with discomfort without letting it dominate your behavior. That's real freedom, and freedom is what this is really about. Staying calm when everything is falling apart isn't just about surviving. It's about rising into a life where you are no longer a slave to external chaos. You don't need everything to go your way to be at peace. You don't need others to behave perfectly to stay balanced. You've learned that your mind is your domain, and you protect it fiercely. You guard your energy not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because you know what it costs to give it away carelessly. You've learned to say no to drama, to noise, to energy that drains instead of empowers. You've learned to be selective with what you give your time to. You've recognized that not every battle is yours to fight, and not every fire is yours to put out. You choose your battles now, you choose your focus, you choose your calm. Even when you face your darkest moments, those silent, lonely hours when you're staring at the ceiling, wondering how you'll get through another day, your calmness speaks. It tells you that you've been here before. That pain is a teacher. That peace isn't something waiting on the other side of the struggle. It's something you create in the middle of it. You choose peace not because it's easy, but because it's powerful. Because you've seen what panic does. You've felt what chaos feels like, and now you want something more. You deserve something more, and here's something even deeper. Your calmness doesn't just affect you. It radiates outward. It creates safety for others. It becomes a light for those still trapped in their storms. When you walk into a room with a calm spirit, you shift the energy. You remind people that there's another way to live, another way to respond, another way to lead. Your calmness becomes leadership. Your calmness becomes healing. Your calmness becomes a gift. There are people who will never tell you, but they watch you. They admire your steadiness. Your presence gives them permission to slow down, to breathe, to believe that they can get through their own struggles too. And that's the beauty of mastering calm in the chaos. It's contagious. It creates a ripple effect. One person centered in peace can shift the dynamic of an entire space. So never underestimate what your calmness does. It's not just self-preservation. It's world-changing, it's family-changing, it's life-changing. You become an anchor in the lives of others, even as you hold onto your own. Now, if there's a voice inside you saying, "But I don't feel calm," understand this. You don't have to feel calm to choose calm. You don't have to be free from fear to act with courage. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to take control of your inner world. You just have to decide that your energy matters, decide that your peace is worth protecting. Decide that your response to life is more important than life's pressure on you. Every day you have this choice, and the more you make it, the more natural it becomes. It won't always be perfect. You'll stumble. You'll lose your temper. You'll feel overwhelmed, but you'll come back faster. You'll bounce back stronger. You'll notice when you're off course, and you'll know how to return home to yourself. That self-awareness, that ability to self-correct is one of the most powerful skills you'll ever develop. And if you ever forget, if you ever doubt, if you ever feel like you can't do this, remember, calmness is not about never falling. It's about always rising. It's about not staying lost. It's about not letting the storm define you. You define you. You decide who you are in the face of adversity. And that decision echoes louder than anything that happens to you. You are not powerless. You are not defeated. You are not the chaos. You are the calm inside it, the eye of the storm, the steady flame that keeps burning even when the wind howls. You've made it this far. You're still breathing. You're still capable. That means you still have power. That means your story is not over. That means the struggle is not the conclusion. It's the chapter. And the next one, the one you write with intention, with poise, with strength, that one is yours to create. And when you keep choosing calm day after day, moment after moment, it becomes part of your identity. It becomes who you are. It becomes the reflex instead of the exception. It becomes the strength you carry with you into every meeting, every conversation, every challenge. It becomes the difference between being reactive and being intentional. Calmness over time doesn't just help you survive difficult seasons. It elevates you. It clears the mental noise. It gives you vision where others see only obstacles. And most importantly, it gives you power when everything else feels powerless. Eventually, you begin to welcome the storms, not because you enjoy the pain or the uncertainty, but because you know what they bring out in you. You know what storms strip away, the falsehoods, the distractions, the unnecessary, and you know what they leave behind, truth, clarity, character. Storms don't come to destroy you, they come to prepare you. And when your soul is trained in calmness, you begin to walk through storms with a quiet confidence, knowing that nothing is being taken from you that you truly need. Everything that matters, your integrity, your will, your vision, your peace, remains intact. You may lose the job, you may lose the relationship, you may lose the money, the title, the approval, but you do not lose your inner world unless you surrender it. And you've made the decision not to. You've made the decision that no matter what the world does, you will remain solid. You will remain centered. That doesn't mean you won't have your moments. It doesn't mean you won't cry or grieve or break temporarily. But you always come back. You always return to center. You always reclaim your calm. And it is in that returning, that rising, that regrounding, that you become unbreakable, not untouchable. Life will touch you, but unbreakable in spirit, indestructible in your core, unshakable in your direction. The world can try to break you, but your response, your calm, patient, focused response, is your rebellion. It's your strength. It's your triumph. One day, you'll look back at the moments where everything was falling apart, and you'll realize those were the turning points. Those were the chapters that built your strength, sharpened your character, and forced you to grow beyond the limits you once accepted. You'll remember how lost you felt, how tired you were, how tempted you were to give up, and how, somehow, you didn't, you stayed, you endured, you breathed through it, and that decision, more than any victory, defines who you are. Because staying calm in the chaos is not about what's happening around you. It's about what's being cultivated inside you. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need external validation to feel whole. It's about becoming the kind of person who can lose everything and still stand tall. And when you become that person, life can never truly defeat you again. The world respects that kind of strength. People feel it when you walk in the room. They see it in your eyes, they hear it in your voice. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. It's not control of everything. It's mastery of the one thing that matters most, yourself. And when you master yourself, you change your world, regardless of what the external world tries to do. So keep building that inner calm, keep protecting it, keep returning to it again and again until it becomes your home. And when others fall apart, let them see that it's possible to face life head on, fully present, fully human, and still completely steady. There will be more storms, there will be more moments that shake you, but you'll meet them with a deeper wisdom, a calmer heart, and a stronger foundation each time. You'll remember that the storm is not the enemy. Fear is not the enemy. Even chaos is not the enemy. The only thing that ever threatens you is the decision to let those things control you. And you've decided that they won't. You've decided that you are the calm in the chaos. That your power is not found in resistance, but in resilience, not in loudness, but in grounded strength. You've decided that peace is your position, not your prize. That you won't chase it, you'll be it. Because when you choose to embody calmness, when you truly live it, breathe it, and let it shape your responses, you step into a kind of strength that most people never tap into. You step into a realm where you're no longer moved by the noise of the crowd, by the pace of the world, or by the pressure of expectations. You are moved only by purpose. You are moved only by principle. You are moved only by clarity, and when you live like that, everything changes. You begin to realize that most of the world is addicted to distraction, to reaction, to emotional instability masquerading as passion. You begin to see how rare and powerful true calmness is in a world that worships urgency. And the more calm you become, the more you see through the illusions. You no longer chase everything. You no longer argue every point. You no longer seek to prove yourself to people who don't even know who they are. You don't compete where you don't need to compete. You're not driven by ego anymore. You're driven by something deeper: peace, purpose, truth. And let me remind you, there's nothing weak about calmness. In fact, it's one of the strongest things a person can cultivate. Anyone can lash out, anyone can panic, anyone can break down and scream and point fingers. But staying composed, staying thoughtful in the midst of madness, that's strength, that's leadership, that's power. The people who change the world are the ones who can stay calm under fire, the ones who can stand tall when others fall apart, the ones who can listen when others shout, the ones who can respond when others react. And the world is desperate for those people. Calm leaders, calm creators, calm thinkers, calm builders, not apathetic. Not disengaged, but calm because they know who they are and where they're going. And you, right now, in this season of your life, are being forged into one of those people. You're being tested so you can grow. You're being challenged so you can rise. You're being stretched so you can expand. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are being refined, not destroyed. You are being called into something greater, and it requires more from you. More maturity, more self-awareness, more emotional control, more spiritual grounding. So yes, it's hard, yes, it's heavy, but yes, it's worth it. You're learning to stop being reactive and start being strategic. You're learning to stop letting your emotions drag you around and start letting your values lead you. You're learning that calmness is not about doing less. It's about doing the right things from the right place. Calmness doesn't make you passive, it makes you precise. It helps you see clearly. It gives you an edge, and once you taste the power of inner peace, you never want to go back to the chaos. You might still visit it from time to time. You're human, after all, but you don't live there anymore. You don't let it rent space in your mind. You've moved, you've elevated, you've chosen something better. That's the thing about calmness. It becomes a standard. It becomes the baseline for how you live, work, love, and lead. It becomes the invisible strength that others notice but don't always understand, and you won't always explain it. You won't need to, because your life, your presence, your energy will speak for itself. There will be days when it feels like the pressure is too much, when everything in you wants to react, to explode, to run. But that's exactly when you lean into the practice. That's exactly when you slow down your breathing, quiet your thoughts, and anchor yourself in truth. That's when you remind yourself, I am not the storm, I am not the chaos, I am not the emotion, I am the calm, I am the stillness, I am the grounded presence that does not waver. And if you fall short, if you lose your calm, if you say something you regret, if you act out of fear instead of peace, that's okay. This is a practice, not a performance. What matters most is that you return. That you learn, that you recommit, that you remind yourself why you're doing this. You're not just doing it for the outside world, you're doing it for you, for your health, for your peace, for your future, for your calling, because the calmest people are the ones who create the most impact. They're not loud, but they're clear. They're not flashy, but they're consistent. They're not reactive, but they're effective. And they change the world, one calm moment, one wise choice, one grounded step at a time. So no matter what happens next, you keep walking with that energy. You keep carrying that calmness. You keep choosing that strength. Let others rush, let others rage, let others fall into the trap of chaos. You stay grounded, you stay focused, you stay rooted in peace. You've already made it through more than most people know. You've faced storms that would have broken others. And yet here you are standing, breathing, rising. That's not a small thing, that's everything. And it's proof that you are capable of so much more than you think. So keep going, keep choosing calm. Keep being the one who doesn't fall apart when everything else does. Because the world needs people like you. Your family needs someone like you. Your community, your future, your dreams. They need the version of you that knows how to stay steady in the middle of the storm. And when the storm finally passes, and you'll emerge not just intact, but transformed. You'll walk out of the chaos with eyes that see more clearly, a mind that thinks more sharply, and a heart that beats with greater purpose. You'll be changed, yes, but not weakened. You'll be wiser, you'll be deeper. You'll be someone who no longer fears adversity because you've already proven to yourself what you're made of. You'll have evidence, real lived evidence, that you are the calm in the storm, and then something beautiful begins to happen. You begin to seek out the calm not just in reaction to chaos, but as your default way of living. It becomes how you think, how you speak, how you respond. You bring calm into your relationships, into your home, into your goals, into your dreams. You begin to set the tone instead of absorbing it. You begin to lead from the inside out. No more giving away your peace to every inconvenience. No more letting the day dictate your mood. No more shrinking because life got loud. You've learned how to be quiet inside, and that inner quiet becomes your compass. There will be moments when you'll want to go back, when the pull of chaos will tempt you to lose yourself again. But you'll remember. You'll remember the pain of living without peace. You'll remember the cost of letting everything affect you. You'll remember how far you've come and how hard you fought to find this level of inner freedom. And that memory will hold you steady. That memory will remind you that this calmness is sacred, that it's not just a preference, it's a lifestyle. It's the foundation of your strength, and over time, calmness becomes love. Not just a tactic or a tool or a mindset, but a way of loving yourself, loving others, loving the process. It becomes compassion in action. It becomes grace under pressure. It becomes the way you build relationships, lead teams, raise families, chase dreams. You're not moved by drama anymore. You're moved by vision. You're not governed by fear anymore. You're governed by purpose. And when people ask you how you do it, how you stay calm, how you keep going, how you don't fall apart when everything's falling apart, you'll look them in the eye with peace in your voice and say, because I've been through storms, and I've learned they don't last, but I do. You'll let them see that calmness isn't luck. It's not a personality trait. It's a decision, a practice, a discipline, one you commit to daily. And the most incredible part is this: once you've lived through the storm and stayed calm, everything else seems smaller. Petty arguments won't steal your peace. Delays won't unravel your plans. Unexpected changes won't crush your spirit, because you've developed something unshakable. You've anchored yourself in the one place no storm can reach, your soul. That's what the storm was really for. Not to destroy you, not to shame you, but to build you, to help you see what you're truly made of, to strip away the noise so you could finally hear your own strength. And now that you've heard it, you'll never forget it. You'll carry that sound, the quiet roar of your inner calm, wherever you go. It will guide you in moments of uncertainty. It will ground you when life feels unstable. It will empower you when others lose their way. You'll be the presence that brings clarity, the voice that brings peace, the force that brings stability, not because life is easy, but because you are prepared. Because you've chosen this, because you've become this, you will be the example others need, the proof that chaos doesn't have to break you, that peace is possible, that strength doesn't have to be loud to be real. And you will inspire others, not by shouting, but by living, not by convincing, but by embodying what it means to stay calm in a world that never stops spinning. This is your power now. This is your responsibility. To carry your calm into every room you enter, to walk with confidence even when the path is unclear, to lead with grace even when others fall short, to hold space for peace even when it's hard, because that's who you are. That's what you do. You stay calm when everything is falling apart, not because the world is calm, but because you are. And in the end, this isn't just about surviving storms. It's about becoming someone who knows how to thrive in any season. Someone who walks through life with a quiet kind of power. Someone who lives with a full heart and a steady hand. Someone who's earned their calm, not by avoiding chaos, but by mastering it. And as you move forward with that calm as your anchor, something else begins to unfold. Clarity. Clarity that was once buried beneath the noise of worry and the heaviness of pressure. You start to see life not just through the lens of survival, but through the lens of purpose. You begin to distinguish what truly matters from what only pretends to. You no longer carry the unnecessary. You no longer entertain the trivial, because calmness doesn't just steady you, it purifies you. It reveals the core of your values, your dreams, your truth. The calmer you become, the more your life begins to align. You make better decisions, you attract better energy, you build deeper relationships. You don't chase what doesn't serve your soul anymore, because you're not coming from a place of panic. You're not trying to fill a void with noise, attention, or validation. You're operating from fullness, not from lack, from wisdom, not from impulse, from vision, not from fear, and when you live like that, people notice, not because you demand attention, but because your presence makes others feel safe. You become the steady hand in the storm, the voice of reason in confusion, the calm in the room where everything else is frantic. And that kind of influence doesn't come from status or titles or noise. It comes from presence. From composure, from inner mastery. It's in the way you pause before you speak. It's in the way you listen fully before you respond. It's in the way you don't flinch when plans change, or when people disappoint you, or when the unexpected shows up. Because you've trained yourself to be unshaken, not numb, but grounded, not detached, but present in a way most people have never learned to be. You know now that storms don't mean stop. They don't mean surrender. They simply mean adjust, adapt, rise, and you've learned how to rise not with panic in your chest, but with purpose in your heart. You've learned how to stand tall with peace in your spine, not tension. You've learned how to let things fall away without losing yourself in the process. That's what calmness gives you, the ability to hold on to yourself even when everything else slips through your fingers. And there will be more moments. There will be new challenges, new storms, new pressures. Life doesn't promise ease, but you've stopped waiting for the world to calm down before you do, because you've realized something most people never understand. Waiting for peace is a trap. Choosing peace is power, so you've stopped waiting. You wake up and choose it. You face your day with it. You end your night anchored in it, and that habit of choosing peace again and again is what sets you apart. That's what keeps you going when others quit. That's what gives you clarity when others are confused. That's what allows you to lead when others follow fear. You are no longer the person who gets thrown by every wave. You've become the ocean floor, deep, steady, immovable. Let the waves crash, let the winds blow, let the surface tremble. You remain, you endure, you rise, and this is not just motivation. This is transformation. Because you're not just enduring storms. You're becoming stronger because of them. Every time you choose calm, you wire strength into your soul. You wire clarity into your thinking. You wire confidence into your voice. You become more you, more focused, more solid, more aligned with your calling, and yes, you will still be human. You'll still have bad days. You'll still feel the weight, but you'll carry it differently. You'll carry it with grace. You'll carry it with strength. You'll carry it without letting it crush your spirit, and that changes the way you experience life. It changes the way life responds to you, because calmness doesn't just influence your internal world. It shifts your entire environment. It shapes the way others engage with you. It creates a field around you, a space of quiet power that makes everything around you feel more possible, more hopeful, more steady. That's what the calm creates: space to think, space to heal, space to build, space to dream, and in that space your greatness expands, not from striving, not from pressure, but from intention. From alignment, from a quiet fire that burns steady, not wild. That's the secret of calm. It burns slow, but it never goes out. You've become the fire that doesn't rage but still transforms, the river that doesn't crash but still carves through stone, the light that doesn't blind but still reveals everything. So when everything is falling apart, remember this: it's not the storm that defines you. It's who you choose to be in the middle of it, and you have chosen calm. You have chosen strength. You have chosen peace, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Not because the world gave it to you, but because you created it inside yourself. And if ever the world forgets how powerful calmness truly is, let your life be the reminder. Let your actions speak louder than words, and let your stillness become your testimony, because calmness is not passive. It is quietly assertive. It is the soul's way of saying, I know who I am, and nothing outside of me can change that. It is the warrior's breath before battle, the leader's pause before decision, the heart's whisper amidst the roar of uncertainty. You'll start to see the beauty in stillness. You'll begin to notice the strength it takes not to retaliate, not to panic, not to collapse under the weight of it all. You'll feel that calmness isn't detachment. It's engagement with grace. It's being fully present yet unaffected by the frenzy. It's loving deeply without clinging. It's planning carefully without fearing the unknown. It's preparing for the worst while still believing in the best. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's what makes you resilient in the truest sense. Not the fake toughness of a hardened exterior, but the real power of a soft heart, a clear mind, and an unwavering core. Because now you don't panic when the ground shakes. You don't flinch when people change. You don't crumble when things go wrong. You adapt. You learn. You respond. You evolve. And you do all of that with calmness. Let the world call it what it wants. Some will call it detachment. Some will call it cold. Some will say you don't care, but you know the truth. You care deeply. You just don't let chaos lead you. You feel fully. You just don't let emotions make your decisions. You've come too far to give your power away to noise, to drama, to fear, to things that are beneath the level you now live at. You've elevated. You've refined. You've risen, and you've done it without shouting. You've done it without revenge. You've done it without needing everyone to understand, because you understand, and that's enough. You now know that life doesn't owe you clarity. You have to create it. Life doesn't hand you peace. You have to protect it. And when everything feels like it's falling apart, that's the very moment you plant your feet, straighten your back, take a deep breath, and decide, this will not break me. This will build me. And as you keep living like that, you build a legacy of grace under pressure, a legacy of wisdom in adversity, a legacy of calmness in chaos. People will feel it in your presence. They'll trust you more. They'll follow you farther, not because you're loud, but because you're real, not because you have all the answers, but because you ask the right questions with patience and depth, not because you're perfect, but because you're practiced, disciplined in your calm, devoted to your peace. And when you leave this season behind, when the storm passes and the dust settles, you'll look back and realize that calmness was never a reaction. It was a choice. It was the wisdom you cultivated in silence. It was the strength you gathered in stillness. It was the clarity you uncovered when everything else lost shape. That calmness will stay with you, through the victories, through the losses, through the chapters you write next. It will become your default mode, your trusted companion, your silent advantage. You will show up to rooms with presence, not pressure. You will face problems with faith, not fear. You will walk into your purpose with peace, not panic. Because you've built that strength one moment at a time, one breath at a time, one storm at a time. So don't doubt your calmness. Don't question its power. Let it become your signature. Let it lead your transformation. Let it keep you steady when everything else spins. Because this calm, this grounded, sacred hard-earned calm, isn't just how you survive when everything is falling apart. It's how you win. It's how you lead. It's how you thrive. It's how you rise, again and again and again.